Welcome back to Run It Back. It's been quite some time since we've seen Lonzo Ball on a court, and there's such mystery around his health. Shams, do you have the latest on him?
Well, it's not good. Lonzo Ball has been shut down for the remainder of the NBA season. This is a guy that had 2 surgeries in 2022, one in January of 2022 for a torn meniscus, and then he had one right as training camp was beginning this past September. Both were supposed to help that left knee, that ailing left knee that he has, but both have not worked. The pain and the discomfort has persisted in his knee. And I'm told right now the next step for Lonzo Ball is figuring out strategies where he can try to recover and find a way to get out back on the floor. And if those options that he's looking at don't work, I think there definitely is some internal fear within the Bulls. How much does this threaten his career long term? Will he be able to make it back after missing a year and a half without stepping foot on an NBA court? You could end up missing 2 full calendar years. And so obviously Chandler's a guy that has dealt with a lot. But Lonzo Ball, guys, 22-13, the Bulls were last year with him in the lineup. They're competing for being the top seed in the East. To me, he's one of the best guards when you look around the league, making teams better, making teammates better. He made the Bulls a lot better, and he personally elevated his game, became a much better three-point shooter. So it's unfortunate. Of course, we all hope he figures it back out and gets back on the court. But Chandler, you're a guy that's been through a lot throughout your whole career. And we talk about knees and surgeries, meniscus, all this. What do you make of a guy that could end up missing 2 full calendar years of his career when he's supposed to be in his prime?
Yeah, this is tough. And this hits me close to home because I went through the same exact thing where I just had a freak accident kind of spill where I kind of banged my knee on the ground, and I got an MRI and I had a dime-sized piece of cartilage that chipped off the medial part of my knee. And it was basically called a chondral lesion where, it was said to not get worse, to just rest and strengthen the areas around it, everything that Lonzo Ball has been going through. And you come back, and I came back for the playoffs that year, and I had landed again. And sure enough, blew out my knee, got a different MRI, and that dime-sized cartilage went to a quarter-sized cartilage. And that's when you start talking about microfracture surgery, which is what I had, which is extremely hard to come back from. And nowadays they have different things. They have the Regenikine, which is this Dr. Peter Veiling, which is where Kobe used to always go to Dusseldorf, Germany. And my guy Barons Betos takes all these players over there still in the summer. And it's kind of like a 5-day process where you do different injections. You train in the morning, then you come back in the evening for another injection, and it's all legal. Doesn't fail you on a drug test, and it just kind of gives you that temporary relief. The problem is you can't really go to Germany during the season, and it wears off after like 4 to 5 months. Now they have different stuff. They have cartilage regeneration, where it's a different doctor in Germany where they're actually regrowing cartilage in your knee. I believe Festus Ezeli tried it, and it didn't really have the outcome that he liked. And it's another year rehab on top of that. So it's an intense process with not a lot of research done on it so far. So it's a tough spot because there's nothing you can do. You can fix an ACL, you can fix a meniscus. You can't really regrow cartilage back like that. And what happens is it's so jagged and they'll smooth it. It's a trickle effect. And from that, I tore my left meniscus, then I tore my right meniscus. And it's kind of just a spiral effect of issues. So I feel for the kid because he is a great player and he's exactly what the Bulls need. And he's one of these point guards that are the Jalen Brunson types that can run an offense, that can shoot, that can see the floor, that can pass. But this is tough, and I hate to hear this because even if he does go the cartilage regrowth process, we're talking another year to 2 years that he's out. Now he's out of the league for 3 years. That's hard to come back from. So this is a sad case where I hope he can find relief. I hope he can, because you can only do so much cortisone and PRP and all this temporary fixes for an issue like this.
Which is what it seems like they've been doing since the mystery was so strong, Eddie.
We've known this guy for so long, him and his family, and we've watched so much of their lives. It's really easy to forget Lonzo Ball's just 25 years old. He's only played 5 years in the NBA, and to say his career is already being threatened by an injury, that's just tough to hear. He was really coming into his own as a player. He spent a lot of time figuring out his shot form on an NBA level to be an NBA level shooter. He's been a great defender since he touched down into the league, and it really found a role for him in the NBA. So hopefully he can get back to himself, but so much of his game was built on his athleticism, on his ability to defend, on his ability to shuffle on defense, on his ability to get around defenders, to create space, to create shots for his teammates. So he's going to need that. If he's going to come back as a less athletic version of what we had previously seen in Chicago and New Orleans, I don't know what that player looks like. So, wishing him the best, hoping he can get back. But as Chandler mentioned, there's a lot for him to figure out. And this is the type of injury that just derails your career in that way. Again, just 25 years old, super frustrated if you're a fan of him, of his family, of all of that we've seen of his entire come up to this player. Hoping he gets back on the court and hoping he looks like his old self.
Yeah, especially because – go ahead, sorry.
The good news is he got paid. 4 years, $85 million.
I didn't want to say
let's make sure that's out there. This would have been like a heartbreaking situation if he didn't get paid and he was figuring out a way to just get paid after this process. But thankfully, he did get paid. So shout out to Lonzo Ball. He is.
And
on a
that's a good point because
contract.
this is something that is not going to pass on a physical. So if he was going into a free agent year, no way a team's giving him a long, lengthy $85 million deal with these type of injuries. So good news is that he did get the bag and secured that and at least set himself up financially.
So he sits while he figures out what he can do next, but the Bulls they still made a move, right, Shams?
Yeah, so the Bulls are going to be adding Patrick Beverley, a guy Chandler knows very well. They're signing him to a deal for the rest of the season. And they looked into Russell Westbrook pretty hard. They thought they had a good shot at him. But after he ended up deciding to go to the Clippers, the Bulls moved on pretty quickly to go get Pat Beverley. He's a guy that has not had the greatest statistical year this year. But when you think about culture, you think about toughness, you think about defense, leadership. Those are all the qualities that you think of when you have Patrick Beverley on your roster. And I do think being back in Chicago, being in a situation where he can start, he can lead a team, he can run a team. He's not really fighting for true minutes, as far as staying power at the point guard position in Chicago. I think that will give him a good chance to like he said, put on for his city.
Look at him. He's already talking, Chandler. Does it move the needle at all for Chicago?
I love him so much. But no, it doesn't move the needle. It's awesome that he's back home. It's awesome. I do think he is Chicago through and throughout. He is from the absolute hood right down the street. This is great for him, and he's with family, and he's with his friends. It's a tall task, though. You look at those 10 teams that are above them in the standings right now. I don't think Patrick Beverley really puts the needle here. I don't think Westbrook, I don't think whoever they could get, unless there was a huge trade at the deadline to kind of put them in a spot to succeed in the postseason. But I do love a story like this where a guy gets to go home and he's comfortable and he's familiar with everything. He's playing with a lot of talented guys, playing for a great coach, Billy Donovan. So I love it for him. Does it move the needle? I don't think so.
So it's okay. So maybe it won't move the needle. But more importantly, Eddie, do you think the other guys, the stars that are already on this team, will they embrace him? Will they be put off by him? What do you expect?
Everybody loves Pat Bev when they play with him. That's the whole difference. You love to have that scrappy guy who's willing to do it all for you on the court and who's willing to fight literally anybody. We've watched Pat Bev deck a center this year for a backup guy on his team. Like, everybody loves to have that guy on their team. So, yeah, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, they're excited to have him there. Now, are they going to be excited when he bricks another wide open three? I don't know. But they need some energy on that team. We've talked about them all year about how they just look frustrated in general. Shams had a great report in December of just how bad the team felt. And, they need this type of pick-me-up. And they're one game out of the play-in right now behind the Wizards. They can make a real run. And this is a team in November we thought could really make some noise. So if they get healthy, they make a run. Hey, maybe they win a playoff game or two in the opening round. But they got to pass the Wizards first. And, I don't know if Pat Bev helps on the court, but maybe he helps them morale and gets them in the right place for them to then handle it on the court themselves.
It does feel like an injection of sass at the exact right moment. Like if you're trying to make a run to just get in barely.
Definitely need that right now.
Right? It feels like a good move, like on their part, no matter how it turns out.
Shams, when this was going on, I literally text Cuban. I was like, go get Pat Bev. Like, he would be perfect for like Luka, like his little bodyguard. You know what I mean? I was like, what? So I love
why?
Pat Bev.
Why didn't he?
I don't know, man. I thought he would have been perfect in Dallas. That's probably why I'm not working in the
We're just like
CP
trying to
losing
put
juice in the Dallas Mavericks regime. Never thought I'd see the day.
trying
no
so
juice
hard.
anymore. No juice.
Sounds like you do. It sounds like you do. Shams, thank you. Go have a very fun rest of your Tuesday. Yes, it is Tuesday. And we will talk to you in the morning. Guys, you're sticking around because it's Convince Me time, the All-Star Edition.